My mother wasn't cruel. She was tired, the kind of tired that sits on your shoulders until it starts speaking for you. She raised 3 kids on paychecks that came late and apologies that came never. I used to tell myself she loved me in her own way. But when you're a child, in her own way often feels a lot like not enough. When I was 9, I drew a picture of us holding hands. She pinned it to the fridge without looking and said, "Pretty," then went back to folding bills like origami wishes. I kept waiting for her to notice the way I was, trying to make us okay, for her to see the small, trembling hands of a child reaching for connection. Years later, when I left for college, she didn't cry. She handed me a jar of instant coffee and said, "Don't come home because you're broke. Come home because you want to." It was the closest thing to tenderness I got that year, and I tucked it away like a secret gift, carrying it in the quiet parts of my chest. We didn't talk much after that. Birthdays came and went, replaced by texts that said, "Proud of you," and "Call when you can." I never did. Pride can be a wall that looks like a hug from far away, and I didn't know how to climb it without falling. Then last year, she got sick. The kind of sick that rearranges time and forces the past and present into the same room. I went home to help, not because I forgave her, but because I didn't want regret to win. The house smelled the same detergent and exhaustion. She looked smaller, quieter, but her eyes still held that sharpness I had learned to obey and fear in equal measure. One night, I found her awake, staring at the ceiling fan like it was keeping score. "Can't sleep?" I asked. She shook her head. "Too much noise is in here," she said, tapping her chest. "What kind of noise?" I asked. "The kind that sounds like everything I didn't say." We sat in the dark for a long time. Then she whispered, "You know I didn't mean to be hard on you, right?" I didn't answer. I wanted to. I wanted her to name every wound she left. Every night I learned patience in silence. But she only said, "I didn't know how else to keep us alive." It wasn't the apology I'd imagined, but it was close enough to count. I reached out, took her hand bones, veins, history. She squeezed once. "You turned out good," she said. "Better than I raised you to be." She passed away 2 weeks later. At the funeral, people told stories about her strength, her stubborn kindness. I stood by the casket and thought about that night, how her half apology echoed louder than any sermon. It was a final gift, imperfect, but enough. Months later, I cleaned out her dresser and found a folder labeled college stuff. Inside were every letter I ever sent, even the one I wrote in anger at 17 saying I hated her. On the back, in her handwriting, she'd written, "You were right, I was angry too." I sat on the floor and cried for reply. Every "I love you" we never said, but somehow understood. For every night she stayed up fixing what the world broke before it reached us. For every quiet act of care that I hadn't noticed until it was too late. Now, when people ask what forgiveness sounds like, I tell them, sometimes it's not a magic word. It's the sound of someone finally resting after a lifetime of trying. Sometimes it's a hand held in the dark, a note folded into a drawer, a half sentence that carries the weight of a lifetime. Not every apology is spoken. Some are written between the lines of survival, love, and the quiet. It's efforts that shape who we become.